Good evening, Rink Rats. What's going on? Hope all is well. Andy Campbell here with the Bard and with Shawnee Fitzgerald. Welcome to season 6, episode 2. And happy almost September, everybody. Everybody's been talking about Patrick Kane. Oh my gosh, he's going to be dealt. Oh, I'm certain it's Columbus. Maybe the New York Rangers, Buffalo Sabres. Folks, everyone chill out. We don't know what's going on. Nobody really knows what's going on, but everyone thinks it's imminent. He's going to be dealt, and that is our topic tonight. 1,000 apologies. Serena Williams is up 5-4 right now in set number 1 of the second round of the U.S. Open. We hope you're watching that, but we hope this. Check it out later. At any rate, welcome, everybody. Quick shout-out to our sponsors, puckhockey.com, PUCKHCKY in all caps. Use discount code The-Rink in all caps for 10% off. Hey, you spend $100, you get a free t-shirt. Check out our gear. It's pretty good stuff. And I felt like I've been saying that in my sleep lately. You know, every time we do the sponsor, I'm like, oh my God, did I wake up in the middle of the night saying that? At any rate, we're here with the great guys. Our guys are here. It's awesome. We're ready for another season of hockey. Sean Fitzgerald is here, ladies and gentlemen. And he's looking good. He's ready for the Fighting Irish to take on Ohio State. That's why he's wearing the lid. Sean, what's happening, man?
Good to be back. Was on vacation basically the month of July. Yeah,
that's good. That's a good one. Yeah, I like July.
I went to Florida and then I went to Colorado for 8 days. I bought a Rockies hat, which I will debut at some point, a Broncos hat, and did not buy any Colorado Avalanche Stanley Cup Championship gear because I'm that petty.
Glad you chose that route. Yeah, they're an in-division rival. I mean,
first question for Sean: was it a Colorado Rockies baseball or Colorado Rockies hockey?
It was I couldn't find a Colorado. I have a Colorado Rockies hockey, but I ended up buying a Colorado Rockies baseball hat that says 5,280 on it and has the Colorado flag as the 0. So
that's good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And the Bard. The Bard's here too. Andrew Bard, what's going on, man? How are you?
Doing fantastic.
Excellent.
Andy, I wish I was Daniel Bard.
He's my brother from another mother.
There it is. Good summer, my friend.
Very good summer. All
Excellent.
Good.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, we're going to start with you, Bardo. What is going on out there? Hey, there is clickbait everywhere on Twitter. Someone's got an opinion. Someone's saying, oh, Patrick Kane's going to go to Columbus. Patrick Kane's going to go to New York. He's going to go to Buffalo. Oh, I think Colorado will be a suitor. What is this? And is this going to happen? I mean, what are we talking about?
It's not going to happen in the near future. I think everybody wants to scoop and break the story first and say that they broke the story first of the Kane trade because we know it's going to be a big moment for the league and for all the sports. But it's not imminent. It's not going to happen anytime soon. Yes, the rumors are going to continue. They're probably going to continue throughout the season until it actually happens. I have a feeling it's going to be at the deadline when his cap number is a bit more manageable. And, I think by then, we'll figure out who the buyers are, who the sellers are, and we'll see that maybe they'll be able to create a little bit of a market for him.
Yeah. So you're saying Ixnay, it's not happening before the season starts?
I don't think so. No, I doubt it. Would it surprise me? Maybe a little bit, but I would say it's about a 10% chance it happens before the season.
Yeah. So all this is hogwash. It's fiddlesticks, as my mother would say. Absolute fiddlesticks. Yes. Yeah. Sean, are you on that? Are you catching that same frisbee? You on the same vibe here?
I am. It's all tomfoolery. It's shenanigans. It's all goings on. Yep. Patrick Kane's ultimately the one who decides if he's going to get traded or not because he has the no movement clause. So all the speculation on Edmonton calling or Toronto or Columbus or Vegas doesn't matter. Patrick Kane decides his future.
Yeah.
If he wants to go to any team, on my way home, driving home from work today, because I had to go in the office today, I was thinking of back when Martin St. Louis was with the Tampa Bay, and he basically said, I want to go to the Rangers. And I've traded me to the Rangers, and that's what I want. That's what needs to get done and get it done. And they did. And they got a pretty decent player. So in Ryan Callahan, I believe, back for St. Louis. Yep. So that's what Patrick Kane can do if he wants to get traded. But he said many times he's going to see how the season goes.
Yeah.
Another thing that I was thinking about, and we can get more, maybe we can get more into it, but legacy is a big thing, I think, with Patrick Kane. And
Yep.
I was doing a little bit of math earlier today. So Stan Mikita has 1,467 points. To be the all-time leader, Kane, it's only 287 points behind him for the Blackhawks. He's averaged 79 points for his career during his 15 seasons. So in 3 or 4 seasons, he would catch Mikita.
If he stays.
If he stays.
Yeah.
And that's his choice. I know Eddie O and I think a bunch of other guys have said that Kane's a big legacy guy. So, and then he's 174 goals behind Bobby Hull. Bobby Hull has 604. Kane has 430. So that's 29 goals a season for the next 6 seasons if he stays. So those are some things that maybe Patrick Kane is considering. But I think Eddie Olczyk, who's now the Kraken's lead commentator, said before he left town. Gotcha. So that's just some things to consider.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing, and thank you guys for your points. I agree with you both. I don't think this is happening anytime soon. I think the season will begin and Patrick Kane will still be on the Blackhawks. A couple key points, and Sean, you mentioned this mostly, is that it's up to Patrick Kane. And that is what drives me crazy about the Twitter world right now, is you see all these tweets and even articles saying, what will the Chicago Blackhawks decide to do about this? They don't hold any of the cards here. It's Patrick Kane who decides what's going on. Now, are there phone calls that are coming into Kyle Davidson's office with offers about Patrick Kane and saying, go talk to him about it? Probably. I mean, I'm sure that happens. Does Kyle Davidson talk to Patrick Kane about all of it? Does Patrick Kane and his agent say, yeah, give me a call when someone calls and let me know and we'll think about it? Yeah, sure. Maybe some of those things happen. But let's also think about where this started here, folks, okay? Some guy, so the only thing that we know about Patrick Kane right now is that he likes to travel via plane, no matter where he's going, okay? Some guy threw a picture of Patrick Kane at O'Hare Airport all over Twitter with a Chicago Blackhawks bag and said, see, he's going out there and he's looking at teams. I mean, come on, folks. You really think that's what he's going to do? Right now, there's media tours. There's all sorts of stuff. Do you really think he's going to show up with his Blackhawk bag? Maybe he's going to see a buddy for the weekend. I mean, I don't, what is this? And then all of a sudden it's saying, it was quoted, what was the terminal of what the destinations were and what the possible airlines of where you might be going?
Boston, Montreal.
And then days later, Twitter erupts and all these, cheesy Blackhawk websites, these wannabes are barred, to your point, throwing out, they want to be there first and he's going to be trading. I think I know what's going on. And it's just darts at a dartboard. So, people believe whatever you want to believe. But what I have a hard time believing is, why would Patrick Kane go right now? Okay, let's look at his personal life. He's got a toddler? Yeah. Are you all of a sudden just going to, shift to another city when you're a UFA to be, right, and go move for an entire year to be a rental and then play the open market? You might as well wait to the trade deadline. You got to see who has a great run at the Cup. You want to also take a look at, maybe where you can be extended long-term. You got to play this out. So this rush before the season, clearly people are bored and need something to talk about, but it's really hard to believe that Patrick Kane, nearing September 1, nearing training camp, would go, let's do this right now. And it's up to him. It's ultimately
remember,
go ahead, Andy.
No, Bardo.
We literally a year ago played this kind of story that we were talking about, that we're going through with Claude Giroux. I mean, you remember he was headed into the season as a UFA, and there were some rumors that popped up that he was going to get traded, and when will he get traded? But he ultimately, as everyone who had, a cooler head, basically knew he was going to go at the deadline, and he did. And, he went to a place where, he had a chance to win a cup. Ultimately, it didn't work out. And then there was a lot of talk during the season. And it's funny because I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and I said to him, I said, watch Ottawa for this one. And you guys know that, part of my day job is in the sports world. I mean, I talk to agents and all that. And, he's a very, very devoted family man. and he wants to kind of finish his career in Ottawa. And look where he ended up. And I told a friend of mine, and he was just like, "There's no way he's going to Ottawa. They're rebuilding. They suck, and all that. He wants to win a cup. Giroux's never won a cup." I said, for some people, being home is almost as good as winning a cup sometimes. Right. And look what happened. Lo and behold. And who knows? Maybe Ottawa makes a run because they've added a lot of talent in the offseason. Mm-hmm. But the other thing also about Kane that we should remember is that, yes, he holds all the cards, but there's also, the other side to it where Davidson and ownership can always go out to him and say, look, we're really going in this other direction, as you know, yep. And we really would like to move you. And it would be, a benefit to the organization. You'd be doing us a favor if you would, accept a trade somewhere. You tell us where you want to go, blah, blah, blah. And so that's a possibility. They can almost say, look, and then he could take it as, well, they don't want me, but, I understand they're, it's a business and maybe it's time to move on.
Yeah,
that can
Kyle
Davidson, just him waking up in the morning saying, I want to get traded. So,
right. To your point, Kyle Davidson may have said to him, we're not going to resign you. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. I don't know. That wouldn't be a very popular move, but
so let's look at this from a logistical standpoint, right? So logistically, everybody has their roster, or they're trying to figure out what their roster is, right? So they're going to have their camps. They're going to invite guys in. They're going to have their prospects up, and they're going to cut their camps down. They're going to sign people to the AHL, send them back to junior, so on and so forth. So it doesn't make sense to trade Patrick Kane right now because you don't know, like, let's say, for instance, one of the possible destinations he wants to go to, they don't have any cap space. They don't have the room for him. They don't have a roster spot, nothing. But, somebody gets hurt. Magically, they're on LTIR for their entire year. Then you can start talking about that. Or they play like 6 games and get hurt. Or like any fluky thing can happen. But you've got to wait until, if they're going to trade him this offseason, you got to wait until at least the end of camp. Until at least the end of the preseason. Because you don't know what's going to happen in those games. You don't know who's going to be available. You don't know if some flukier things are happening that somebody could say, you know what, after this training camp, I decided I don't want to play anymore, and the team puts them on LTIR, or they have a magical back injury.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, we can't necessarily rule out pre-holiday trades or a Thanksgiving time trade. This whole, but these notions that it is going to happen in the next few days. Very tough time.
He's due $10.5 million.
Yeah.
So and the Blackhawks have to retain. They're going to retain at least 50% of that.
Yeah.
Which is the max you can do. You can't retain any more than 50%. So they're going to retain 50% of that to maximize the options of where they can send them. The prorated at the trade deadline makes more sense, and hopefully you can extract more value. The worst thing you could do is, and hopefully Kyle Davidson's having these conversations with Patrick Kane, being like, look, like, we have no intention of re-signing you, even though we know what you meant to this organization. Pick your destination at the trade deadline. We'll get you there, and we're going to try to maximize our return.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too, I mean, the Blackhawks are going to be struggling for revenue like crazy. I mean, this is not, everyone knows what's going on.
Right.
The only thing that is going to keep fans coming into the building this year are the golden smoothies, are Kane and Taves. So, if you trade him right now too, or even if he waives and you decide to trade him, nobody's coming to hockey games in any way, shape, or form this year. So you also have to think about that business aspect too. So, I mean, you at least have to make a few bucks and then save a few dollars if you trade him at a prorated rate by the trade deadline.
I mean, I honestly think they're kidding themselves because quite frankly, I don't think people these days in Chicago are coming to games to see Kane and Taves. I just don't.
Yeah,
you could sell your little kid maybe, and you're saying, okay, there's a good chance that you get to see Kane and Taves. I mean, I could do that to my 8-year-old son, but he doesn't know that they're also in their, the twilight of their career.
Yeah, I mean, my son is a big Kane fan, and if we were in Chicago, we'd go to the game, and he'd be really excited. But but I get it. But it's not. Everyone knows. Well, I mean, the common Blackhawks fans know that things are it's going to be a lean few years here.
Yeah.
and it's going to get a little worse before it gets better. But I think Ray, Ray, who was supposed to join us tonight, he was unable to, which is a bummer. Wrote it best, where he just said, look, he's going to be a trade deadline trade, and the Blackhawks will have a top 3 pick. And that's probably, might be the way that it shakes out.
And hopefully some of your prospects, whether in the AHL or in juniors, take the next step.
Right.
And then you get a top 3 pick, and then there's the foundation for your rebuild.
Yeah.
And you move on from there.
Chicago fans, particularly if you're North Side fans, I mean, did you learn anything in July by following Wilson Contreras and what happened there? I mean, I know we're shifting to baseball, which Shawnee is appreciative of, I'm sure.
Oh, of course.
But,
I'm not the one who brought up the Cubs, so.
I'm bringing up the Cubs right now. I mean, everyone in the entire world of baseball was convinced Wilson Contreras was gone. He was giving these hugs and these very sad goodbyes, and then they ended up not trading him. So, it's just amazing how many Chicago sports fans right now are just convinced that somehow this is just going to happen overnight. Now, we could be shocked. Something could happen. I'm not putting me chips on it. Not even close. So anyway, you see so many opinions out there, folks. You're seeing all these different Blackhawk websites, and everyone thinks that they know what they're talking about, or I heard this, I heard that. You don't know which are valid or who's making it up. Sure,
I was peeing at this bar, and this guy had a sticker on his jacket, and it said it could have been me wearing the shirt. You never know.
I showed. Yeah, exactly. I was, walking by some brownstone.
You never know.
Bumped into a buddy of mine who knows this guy who knows David Schwimmer, who's a big Hawk fan or something. I mean,
David Schwimmer. He started singing Rembrandt, "I'll Be There for You." He knew Jennifer Aniston.
And he knows Kaner, and he's out, man.
Taves, his girlfriend who used to work for this guy. Yeah.
So at any rate, I just don't, there needs to be some logical thought before the clickbait. And Bart, I think you nailed it. Everyone is trying to get there first and somehow getting a following and getting a fan base by just stirring the pot here. And it's also a product of where we are in the season or lack thereof. I mean, free agents have been signed. Most of them have been signed, big names. The draft is gone. It's towards the end of summer. People are bored. They just really need something to talk about.
That's what social media is for. It's a cesspool to create controversies, rumors, innuendos, etc. So
exactly. So thank you all you yahoos out there that are causing the stir. It gives us an
Twitter
opportunity.
Is not real life. Twitter is not real life.
But it gives us a platform to get together and say, no, this isn't happening. So that's always fun, and it's good to see you guys. So, okay, well, let's stick on the Kane train for a minute. Oh God, that rhymed. I'm sorry.
Ooh.
That was unintentional.
Come on, ride the train.
No, that was terrible. I apologize for that. Let's stay talking about Patrick Kane. If he goes, when and where is he going? Let's just throw that out there. Let's have some fun with this. Bardo, we'll go with you. I know who my pick is. But again, we need to see how the season plays out, and you got
to see how the season plays out. But I'm going to guess, and it's almost like too logical. But I'll say maybe deadline, and it would have to be. I would say the Rangers is a choice. A lot of people connect him to because they could use another legit scorer on that team. I mean, I don't think you can count on Kreider having another 50-goal season. I mean, he never had that beforehand. I think, water's going to find its level there. Zibanejad is very streaky, and then we don't know what those two kids are, Kako and what's the other kid? I'm not in hockey.
Lafreniere.
Lafreniere.
Out of season. It's always tough to remember.
He's shown.
I didn't want to say their names because I would have butchered them.
Yeah, I mean, he's shown flashes that he could be a really good player, but he's just, to me, number one overall pick is going to score you 15 goals. But so that's where, to me, it's like they need that other scorer. He also has a relationship with Panarin. Panarin actually, around these parts where it was, almost thrown out of town practically. People were miserable with how he was in the playoffs. I said, well, us Chicago fans know all about that. But to me, it's like they still have a pretty good prospect pool. I know a lot of guys have come up to the big club, but there's some prospects there for them to pursue. So that to me is one logical place. So we'll see.
Okay, I like it. What about you, Sean?
So I'm gonna go with the Vegas Golden Knights just because they don't care about prospects, they don't care about draft picks, they don't care about anything. And right now, their owner's getting itchy because they didn't win, they didn't play well last year. He's getting itchy. Their goaltenders suck. So why not go out and get the big new offensive toy? I mean, they're crazy. They acquired Thomas Tatar one year.
They did.
Gave up multiple picks, I believe. So I'm saying Vegas. It'll be fun. Him and Mark Stone will be fun together. There's Jack Eichel. Just throw a lot of personalities in the mix and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Vegas.
Why would you? Vegas is a mess, though. Eichel seems like, I don't know.
I know Vegas is a mess, but they're
You always
desperate.
wonder where Eichel is.
So
Is Leonard out for the season now? And
I think so.
There's always a lot of layers with Robin Leonard. They have no scoring. You said it yourself, Sean. Sorry, you wrote it yourself. Patrick Kane in that town. Maybe he's conquered his demons from his younger past, and so maybe he's ready for Vegas. But
I don't think so. But I think Vegas would do the deal in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think they would.
Think of an analogy, but to me, Vegas almost seems like that team that just doesn't believe in developing talent and is just going to keep signing and acquiring older talent.
Yeah,
Michael notwithstanding, but it's like I just feel like they've been win now since like the day they walked into the league, and they just haven't developed anybody. And sooner or later, this is just going to fail miserably, and they're just going to have a long rebuild ahead of them.
Yep. I mean, I think they're victims of their early success in 2018. I think they obviously no one sees an expansion
that way. They built it that way. They were bringing in talent that basically they thought was sort of underutilized in so many other locations, and they said, let's put together this kind of band of misfits, and look what happened. They kind of all played with a chip on their shoulder and nearly won a Stanley Cup their first year of existence.
And they leverage the new the expansion draft rules to perfection. They literally they basically held teams over a barrel, saying you give us this and we won't take that. And it was brilliant. George McPhee was a genius at that point. And then he got drunk with power and thought he was Dr. Emmett Brown and go to the future and all kinds of craziness. And now it's literally they're going for broke. The logical team, though, gentlemen, is the Buffalo Sabres. That's the logical team.
I don't know about that.
They have $12 million in cap. They have $19 million in cap.
Well, they could re-sign him, yes, and they could extend him, and he can finish his career there if they.
And they're not. I'm sorry, but they've gotten better. They're still not. They're not. They're going to be better this year. They won't be a playoff team, but they're not like the garbage team of yesteryear.
No, I don't know these things. I'm always going with more of the psychological, I guess. I'm talking about Kane's kid. I act like I know Patrick Kane, but does he want to go back to that city where so many bad things happened in 2000?
He kept going back there every offseason.
Okay. I'm just saying,
Can I make a crazy? Can I say why it's not so crazy? It's crazy on the surface, but I'm going to tell you why it's not so crazy. If you think about what they've done, they've obviously stockpiled a lot of young talent, and sooner or later, this talent is going to break through, with Darlene and Power on defense, among others. And so if they hit that, okay, we're ready to take that next step forward.
Yeah.
Can you almost call Kane if he goes there almost like, and I know it's a different circumstance.
Yeah, sure.
No, I'm just saying, like I was going to say, isn't Kane almost like your Hossa? When Hossa came to Chicago, Chicago was ready to win.
Yeah, it could very well be.
Then be their Patrick Marleau.
Comparison. You got a guy who knows how to win, who's got 3 rings, come in there, be a leader on the team. Yep. That to me it sounds like it could be. I mean, yes, Hossa was younger and a different kind of player, and he was a free agent. But here, maybe he waits till free agency, but maybe it's a deadline thing. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know what I'm talking about when I say would he ever go back to Buffalo. I mean, I do and I don't. Everyone knows what happened in 2015 when Patrick Kane was unfortunately falsely accused of sexual assault, and I think that obviously the town of Buffalo and he were shaken by all that, but that might be since past, and Buffalo might still be his home, and I'm sure he still has family there. I guess you could call that the logical choice. And are they on the up and up? Yeah, maybe they are. And, maybe he could even go there and wear a C. I don't even know who their captain is right now, but, Kaner could be that guy. And, like you said, Shawnee, they've got the cap space if he wanted to be extended there. What someone would call preposterous before Johnny Hockey, which is in between Chicago and Buffalo geography-wise, is Columbus. I'd be curious. Does Columbus, would they go for it? Would Patrick Kane go to Columbus? Is that too small of a city for him? Does it just not feel like as much of a hockey market? Obviously, it didn't bother Johnny Gaudreau being there. Do they want the same type of player, two of them, in a sense? Everyone's throwing out Columbus right now. I still like the New York Rangers. I've gone with that before. I see Patrick Kane in the Big Apple. I see him in Madison Square Garden. I think that, I don't think
on the biggest stage in the
biggest city. He's never shied away from the spotlight. He's always been a big star.
His
the opportunity,
Panarin.
Play with Panarin again. They have the prospects. They could have future picks. They'll be low first round picks. And they're definitely in win now mode. I mean, they were very, very close to getting to the Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. It's interesting, Sean. I mean, we have to see how the Sabres season plays out too. I mean, I think they'll be better. Will they be come the trade deadline? Will they be in the playoff picture even? I don't know. The East is tough. And so would he even want that?
I'm going to throw out another team that I think has been waiting or trying at least to make a real huge splash for a couple of years. They tried with Stamkos. It didn't work out, but Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't think of Detroit like we did, when they were in the Norris division or in the Central division.
No, they're not the Hawks' rival anymore.
Right.
No.
So,
it's sad.
As much as TV wants to make it out, the networks want to make it out to be that, it's an original six rivalry, and that may be true, but it's that was 50 years ago, whatever it is. But
no, that's a shame. It's a shame that Bevan let that dissolve. And now the only thing he cares about is keeping a hockey franchise in Arizona to play in front of 6,000 fans maximum on a Tuesday night on a college campus.
Right.
And all other owners have to pay for that, which is great.
Sun Devil up, man. Sun Devil for life.
Hey, it's great. It's great. If you're an Arizona State student, it's awesome. You're like, hey, Tuesday night hockey. Connor McDavid's in town.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, I was going to go down the Edmonton
road. McDavid's going to party with some of the co-eds. I mean, Arizona State
could be. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure
I couldn't go to school there. That's for sure. There was too many beautiful women there. I couldn't go to school there.
I was going to go down two more roads, and it was Edmonton because of the Connor McDavid thing, and would Duncan Keith sort of say in his ear, you might want to look at it to Edmonton, but I don't know if that's a real need for them because they need more help in goaltending. And
I think they need other. I think they've got other needs. It was
the other one is LA.
LA would be nice. Now I could see that.
That might be the Marian Hossa situation where he's their Marian Hossa because they're close. They added Denault last year, and they got to the first round of the playoffs. They're close to being like a legitimate contender. He might put them over the edge, and they still have a ton of prospects down.
Prospects,
yeah. So that might be the spot.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I think everybody needs to temper their expectations on what they're going to get in return for Patrick Kane because it's only half a season, a rental. Like, they're not going to get the moon worth of stuff. So,
well, I think that's where the extension
expectation.
Yeah, unless if the extension is in play, then they might be able to get a
in play, sure. But if it's just a straight rental, you're not getting. I don't even know what the asking price would be, but
it also depends on what the market is and how many teams are bidding for him. I mean, they could be bidding with one team, and then they don't really have look what happened with the Ottawa thing with The-Rink. I mean, all of a sudden it just fell to one team. I know it was a different time.
Yeah.
But, everybody dropped out. So there's something happen, where there's 5 teams going after him. Do they value picks more than prospects, picks, especially in this year's draft? So who knows?
Yeah. Well, he's certainly going to be highly sought after. That much is clear. And there will be teams that will throw a lot if they're trying to win a cup and if they're desperate to win a cup. So I don't, I think the general consensus here is this will probably be Patrick Kane's final season in Chicago. And it won't be a full season. However, it's not happening tomorrow. We don't think it's happening tomorrow, even though we do not have a crystal ball. It just makes more sense at the TDL for everybody involved.
And my Magic 8 Ball's out of battery, so
Yeah, mine doesn't. Mine's always fuzzy anyway, so always gives me the wrong answer.
The
mood ring.
that didn't help.
Yeah. Well, any final thoughts on Patrick Kane, fellas? Any final thoughts on the Hawks in general? We're doing kind of a lightning pod tonight, folks. Kind of we'll get some preseason stuff coming for you as soon as it kicks off. But
the assumption is that Patrick Kane's going to be traded, right?
Yeah.
Is Jonathan Taves going to be traded? Would be my only question.
That's another one. You think you got to play it out. I mean, I don't know. I always just go back on the health thing with Jonathan Taves, and
that's what I'm thinking too. I
think there was that interview with him over the summer where he says it's frustrating because I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life, but I need to be realistic. This isn't word for word, but he said something to the effect, but I need to be realistic because it's, I feel one way and my body's feeling another.
I thought he was going to possibly hang it up or, go on LTIR for this year. And look, that still may happen.
Right.
But I just think it wouldn't surprise me if he just plays this year out and says it's his last year. I wouldn't be surprised if he decided.
No, I would. I wouldn't. I think that, and everyone says, oh, there will be someone looking for a second or third line center going for the cup. But that's, that prorated salary. I mean, the Hawks will have to eat a lot. And they'll have to really like the return. And Jonathan Taves will have to say, yeah, I want to go win.
He may go on the Getzlaff tour, like Getzlaff had the whole retirement thing where he knew about it in advance and, everyone loved him and all that. And except for Blackhawks fans. But
I also played with Jack Johnson. Maybe he just wants to retire after playing with Jack Johnson.
I'm
retired.
Yeah. I mean, does he even think about coming back and re-signing on the cheap and seeing out like 2 more years or something? But I don't know. That one's tricky to unpack. It's very, I think Patrick Kane will be the most highly sought after commodity at this year's trade deadline. Yeah. I would put my chips on. Jonathan Taves, it's just hard to know if there's where the interest, if there's going to be a suitor and what state he's in at that point of the season, having played maybe 50 plus games if he's made it that far. I mean, will Jonathan Taves play in every single hockey game before the trade deadline? Would you put your money on that?
No.
I don't know if I would.
There's too many questions and it all has to do with his health. So
I don't to prognosticate for that. Sean, it's a great question. But to prognosticate for Jonathan Taves is difficult because it would have to be trade deadline, meaning that it's be half off considering a prorated contract, but then you'd also have to eat some to get him, because I don't think anyone would want a $5 million.
And I don't know how it would work with logistics in terms of retaining it. Because you can only retain 2 contracts, I believe, right? They don't have any retained right now, so it'd be those would be the only 2 guys. I think logistical, but yeah, so.
Well, or unless you make a trade and you take on another expiring salary that's hefty for someone who is overpriced for their productivity. Like if there's a $3 million player out there who is just not doing it anymore. I mean, you saw. Oh my God, Gatekeeper show up.
Woo!
Hey, Gate, how are you?
I had to jump in at the last second and say, hey.
My God, Gene.
Welcome. How you doing? So we were just
good.
talking about Jonathan Taves and seeing if he's even tradable, and that we can prognosticate for Kane, but Taves it's a little harder to do. Though we just saw Calgary, shifting, Moynihan. Was it Moynihan they traded to Montreal? Who did they trade to Montreal?
Yeah. Sean Monahan, yeah.
And just basically a contract shed. So we were just talking about if Taves does get traded, then the possibility of the return that the Hawks might have to take on a dead contract or someone
Dylan
No.
Strom's dead contract.
Dylan Strom's going to be out of the NHL in 2 years.
I'm sure you guys already mentioned that you're going to have to eat half his salary too, right?
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah.
And I mentioned logistics of
Yeah.
you can only retain 2 contracts and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, Kate, do you have any thoughts on Patrick Kane? We kind of landed on hey, this isn't happening overnight. It's probably not happening tomorrow. Some guy took a photo at him at the airport and all hell broke loose. Who knows? Maybe he was going to see a buddy. Maybe he's going
And why would he take his Blackhawks bag if he was doing tours of other teams?
I don't know.
That's my thing.
But we landed somewhat uniformly on it's probably going to happen, but not happening now and probably at the trade deadline. Is that where you're at?
Yeah. You guys all made great points, and I was listening actually to the beginning, so I kind of was following along to what you guys were saying, and I agree with all of it. With why would he hurry this? Why would he do it at the beginning of the season? He has a small child. You don't know necessarily. You could pick a team that might not contend, like you said. Why not feel it out a little bit? Wait till December or after the new year when you actually see where some of these teams slot in. And actually, you could also wait for a team that, has a guy who's on LTIR or loses a top player. There's all those things right there. And teams will pay crazy, look at what they paid for Brandon Hagel last year.
Yeah.
People will pay crazy amounts if they have it. If they have a lot of wealth in their system, they will pay it for a chance at a franchise player coming in. And I mean, he's still a franchise player coming in to at least play for your playoff run.
Absolutely. 100%. And Gip Seaver likes your hat, Ray. Even though
Ray,
I don't know who Ray. Who's Ray, Gip? I'm not really sure.
People will come, Ray. People will come.
So there's 3 guys on with hats. None of them are named Ray.
Yeah, well, in the description it did say Ray because Ray was supposed to be on here originally. So
that's right.
And I wasn't.
Got it.
So,
but you're here.
But it does have names.
Yeah, right, that's right. Yeah. Audio only.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you're in listen only mode.
Yeah, Gate. While we have you here, real quick, when's your next goalie podcast?
I'm actually just lining up some guests. I have a friend of mine who does. He's Washed Up Goalie, I think, on Instagram, and he has a podcast that he does where he kind of interviews goalies about things, and it's a little more quirky. It's like they kind of go through the same format every time, where they answer certain questions about this. What was your favorite goalie growing up? And they kind of just go straight down the line. So, I mean, there's definitely enough room for all the goalie podcasts, but he was nice enough to have me on. He's from Minnesota. Sean, shush.
Minnesota.
Nobody cares, Sean.
Yeah. He's from Minnesota, but he's originally a Chicago guy from, I believe it was Brother Rice he played at.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. And so we're going to have him on.
Dovalina?
No.
Okay, because Dovalina was the goalie for Brother Rice when I was there.
No, it's Joe Drennan is his name.
Okay, he must have been there. I used to go to a lot of Kennedy Cup games because I went to Marist, and we used to had a huge hockey rivalry with a rivalry with Brother Rice and everything, but especially hockey.
Got it.
Yeah. And then I got another one lined up. The guy, his name escapes me, but he's from the Tomahawk podcast or whatever. He's from the South Side as well. He played for St. Jude, and he was a goalie growing up as well. So we're going to have him on at some point as well. He sounds like he'll be a good guest to have on. So he's from the Blackhawks Twitterverse. You've probably seen him around. I think it's the Chicago Tomahawk podcast, I believe it's called, or it's something Tomahawk. I know that.
Gotcha.
But we're gonna have him on.
Awesome. So, folks, make sure you turn in. What's it called one more time, Gate?
The Net Perspective. We have 2 episodes up. Yeah, we have 2 current episodes up.
Make sure you tune in and check out the Gatekeeper and what he's got going on from in between the pipes, from his perspective. Cool. Anyway, well, we're gonna have a lot more action for you, folks. The season's approaching. Training camp is approaching. And to Jackie Davis, sorry you couldn't join us tonight. You're working, but we look forward to hearing what you think of the show when you get back and you're able to listen. So thank you, Jackie, for your comment. On behalf of myself, Sean Fitzgerald, the Bard, and the late edition, but always welcome and well received, Jeff Osborne, the Gatekeeper.
I should have wore sunglasses. Gates' head is blinding me.
And yep. So take care, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see y'all soon. Go Hawks.